This PowerPoint is going to give us a closer look at where root words come from and prefixes and suffixes, how to use prefixes and suffixes, and what are prefixes and suffixes. But first, let's start with the question, where do root words come from? During the 17th and 18th centuries, dictionary writers and grammarians generally felt that English was an imperfect language, whereas Latin was perfect. Doesn't that sound funny? Let's read on. In order to improve the language, they deliberately made up a lot of English words from Latin words. Let's look at the example. For example, fraternity from Latin fraternitas was thought to be better than the native English word brotherhood. We see here that some of our English language was imperfect, so dictionary writers and grammarians got Latin words and created more English words. Let's go on to prefixes and suffixes. Let's start with the question, what is a prefix and suffix? Prefixes and suffixes are added to a word to create a new word. So far we know that Latin words help us create more English words, and prefixes and suffixes create new words. Let's go on to a prefix. We know that pre means before. So this gives us a good clue where they come in a root word, in front of the root word. So we have our root word and our prefix goes in front of it. We know now that prefixes come before a word, prefixes and suffixes are used to create new words, and that our English language is created by Latin words. Let's move on to suffix. We already know that a prefix goes in front of a word, so that can't be a suffix. Suffixes can't go in between a word, so they have to go behind the word. Here's our root word, and our suffix goes behind it. We know now that prefixes and suffixes are used to create new words. Pre goes before a root word, a suffix goes after a root word, and that some of our English language comes from Latin words. So where does some of our English language come from?
Latin.
Latin.
Yes. And do you know why?
Because the English word was not perfect.
Correct. And what are prefixes and suffixes used for?
To create new
Prefix
words.
To create new words.
Yes, correct. And where does a prefix go in a word?
Prefix goes in front of a word.
And where does a suffix go in a word?
Suffix goes up behind a word.
Correct. So now that we understand this PowerPoint, let's go on to a few examples. I'm going to write a root word on the board, and it may look familiar to you. Tract. Does anyone know what tract means?
Track to draw. Near.
Yes,
Draw near.
correct. It means to pull or drag. The example I have is a tract. At by itself means location or place, and when we add tract, it means to pull from one place to another. Let's go on to a prefix. The prefix I have in mind is co. Does anybody know what co means?
Partner. Pair.
It means together. The word example I have is collaborate. So we know that elaborate by itself means present. When we add co to elaborate, collaborate, it means present together. Let's go on to a suffix. Able. Does anybody know what able means?
To do.
It means worthy of doing. The example I have in mind is adorable. Adore by itself means well liked. when we add able to the end of it, adorable, it means worthy of being adored or well liked. So let's go over these examples. Tract is our root word. Attract is our example. And tract means to pull or drag. Co is our prefix. Co means together. Our example is collaborate. Our example for suffix is able. Able means worthy of doing, and our example is adorable. So let's say this all together now. Tract is our root word.
Tract is our root word.
It means to pull or drag,
Means to pull or drag.
and attract is our example.
Attract is our example.
Co is our prefix.
Co is our prefix.
Co means together.
Co means together.
Our example is collaborate.
Example, collaborate.
Able is our suffix.
Able is our suffix.
It means worthy of doing.
It
Worthy of
means
doing.
worthy of doing.
Our example is adorable.
Example is adorable.
Good job.